7:30 p.m. Clock Shop LA is located at 2806 Clearwater Street. For more information, visit clockshop.org. The Las Feliz Connect Day event is looking for a few good volunteers. The goal is to connect people experiencing homelessness with employment counselors, health professionals, and other service providers. Lend your helping hand to the Las Feliz Connect Day, happening February 12th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Friendship Auditorium. To volunteer for the event, email cd4.issues@lacity.org. Head on down to the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza for the 27th Annual Pan-African Film and Arts Festival. The festival features over 170 new black films from around the world and exhibits from over 100 fine artists and unique craftspeople. Treat yourself to the Pan-African Film and Arts Festival happening February 7th through the 18th at the Cinemark Ray 15 Theaters at Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza. For details, visit paff.org. And that's a look at some things to do. That's it for this edition. I'm Yana Kay. From all of us here at LA This Week, thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. See you next time for more of LA This Week.
Moving is who we are, inside and out. We breathe in so that we can breathe out, so that we can breathe in again. We dream, awake and asleep. We laugh. We talk with our hands. We give it a whirl. We become. We move, our bodies and minds in constant conversation. And no matter how much we do it, it's never enough. We know this to the core, that as long as we are breathing, there is moving to be done. Multiple sclerosis stops people from moving. People with MS understand something about moving that is hard for most of us to comprehend, that moving is not a guarantee.
MS is a disease that damages myelin, the protective tissue that surrounds the nerve fibers of the brain and spinal cord. When a person has MS, myelin is lost, and that leaves behind scar tissue called sclerosis.
The scar tissue disrupts the electrical impulses that move information from the brain to the body and makes movement difficult.
No one knows what causes MS, and there is no cure. The effects of MS are unpredictable and show up in different ways in different people. One person may experience memory loss and fatigue, while another may suddenly lose the ability to see.
Someone might lose their balance and have trouble walking, while another may have slurred speech and tremors.
For some, the symptoms of MS come and go. In others, they last forever.
The National Multiple Sclerosis Society is a collective of passionate individuals united by a common goal to address the challenges of each person whose life is affected by MS. The National MS Society leads these initiatives because we believe that moving is not just something you can or can't do, but rather is who you are. That if you are alive, you are connected to the potential, the hope, the momentum of it all. You move along with, because of, and in spite of the great big turning world.
Don't hurt me this way. Don't touch me this way.
When a physical encounter occurs between man and machine, the machine always wins. Please, don't lose. Obey all the rules of the road.
Don't let me make the same mistake again.
Okay, good morning, good morning. If everyone could please take their seats. Today is Friday, February 15th. We want to welcome you to City Hall to this council meeting. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. The public is welcome, so let me officially welcome all of you. Madam Clerk, we do have a quorum. Would you please call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Harris, Dawson, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rodriguez, Rue, Smith, Wesson. 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Buscaino moves and O'Farrell seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Martinez moves and Smith seconds. Continue.
Items 1 through 8 are items which public hearings have been held. Committee reports for items 1 and 6 have been submitted, posted, and circulated for council's consideration. Also, for the record, there are technical corrections for items 2 and 3. The charter code section should be 1001D4 and not 1001B4. Corrected reports are on file, sir.
Okay. Let us prepare to vote on those items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
All right, continue, please.
Items 9 through 11 are items which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. I'm assuming you have cards on these items?
Yes, Mr. President.
Okay,
there are cards on 9, 10, and 11, sir.
Okay, then we will hold those items. Mr. Buscaino?
Yes, if we can send 8 forthwith. Item 8, please, forthwith.
8th forthwith. Continue.
Mr. President, that takes council back to presentations, items called or general public comment, or items called special, sir.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. O'Farrell, it's my understanding you have you'd like to make an announcement, so the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. I understand we have a very special guest who will be joining us this morning. Gentlemen, please come this way. We have Joseph Quintana, my friend and commissioner of the LA City County Native American Indian Commission, who is joined by Vice Chairman Verlon Jose of the Tohono O'odham Nation. The Tohono O'odham Nation has been critical. Here's one of the byproducts of this stupid wall. And I understand this national emergency was just declared, and it's a complete nonsense, and everyone knows it. But here's one of the byproducts of how dangerous this manufactured crisis is. The Tohono O'odham Nation lies on either side of the Mexican and U.S. border. And this wall would bisect their community, the ancient tribal lands. This is just another factor of this manufactured crisis with this ridiculous wall idea that no one has really, the mainstream media has really not covered yet. But it does affect indigenous people all up and down this border with Mexico. So they are in town today, the nations, and they're attending a flag-raising ceremony at UAII's Community Center, and Joseph Quintana is the executive director of the United American Indian Involvement, Inc., and we're so happy for Joseph to bring Vice Chair Verlon Jose in with us this morning for this recognition.
Welcome.
There you are. So a little token of our gratitude. Thank you. And thank you. Thanks for being here.
I'd like to welcome both of you to the council.
Okay, thank you.
And Mr. O'Farrell, I agree with you. We have so many, in our city alone, we have so many real emergencies like homelessness and economic development concerns, social equity concerns. We have real emergencies. Heck, we have an issue with rodents in this building that is an emergency, and this wall garbage is not one. So I am probably going to ask you guys to join me in introducing a motion that would ask our immigration advocate and the city attorney to file a lawsuit against the Trump administration over something that is not a real emergency, so that we can be on record as the city of Los Angeles based on how we feel about this, because it's just silly. And it's time for us to take care of real issues and not the silly issues. So we welcome you, both of you. Let's give them one more round of applause. I'd like to recognize Mr. Price. I believe you have a very important presentation, and I know you may do it, but can I ask for a special round of applause for our director of the West Basin and our new chair of the Metropolitan Water District, Gloria Gray, is with us. Stand up, Gloria. You are welcome. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you know, during the month of February, all across the country and all across our city, we are celebrating African American Heritage Month. In our chambers alone, under your leadership, we honored Blacks in Cinema earlier in the month, and presenting us with a beautiful display on the bridge. I hope individuals have a chance to see the wonderful display of Blacks in Cinema on the bridge. The mayor joined us to recognize influential individuals in the areas of education, law, business, and gospel music. Earlier this week, our colleague, Councilmember Harris Dawson, highlighted historically Black colleges and universities and the city family who attended them and the contribution that they make. Today, let's give all the hands. Let's give a hand for a whole month of celebration. That's what we're doing. We're celebrating all month. Give yourselves a hand. But today I'm here before you to highlight some people and places that have made specific changes and a difference in the community that I represent. Gloria, why don't I ask you to come up? Hold on. Gloria and Gloria Gray, and Shelby. Okay. First, I'm honored to present a friend to all of us, the Honorable Gloria Gray. This is Gloria's, in fact, second time at the podium in the past several months. Gloria is an individual whose success is something to be celebrated. Her success is a beacon for young people of color and demonstrative of what's possible. She's been breaking down barriers for a long time, starting with her stint at the LA County Department of Health Services. I took some credit for encouraging her to run for school board in Inglewood. And Mr. Sedale, as you know, she won that race, served many years of fine distinction on the board, served as president of that board, and was so inspired about the importance of public service, she even ran against me, or threatened to run against me. I talked her out of it. But she has been a real friend and a strong colleague, not just in Inglewood, not just in South Bay, but throughout Southern California. We're so proud of her. Since 2009, she served on the West Basin Municipal Water Board, and last year she was elected chairwoman of the board of the directors of the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the first African-American woman chair of the Metro Board, Gloria Gray.
welcome.
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you to Councilman Price for that wonderful introduction and for this special recognition this morning. I want to say good morning to LA City Council President Herb Weston. Thank you so much for your support and for your continued commitment to this community, and I appreciate what you do as one of the key leaders in this community. Thank you, Herb. And also to the City Council members, thank you for this recognition this morning and being before you. Thank you to the staff, and thank you to the community at large. It is indeed my honor to be here this morning, to be part of LA City's Black History Month program. And as Councilman Price indicated, we are here to celebrate all month, but we are here to celebrate all year, all diversities in LA, in this great city of Los Angeles. So before I begin my brief remarks, I'd like to ask those who are here to support me and to be a part of this ceremony. So can I ask those to come up, please?
Please go.
Please come up.
Stand
if that's
with
okay,
her.
Council President.
Stand with her.
I would like to also congratulate my fellow honoree here this morning, Shelley Williams Gonzalez, and I believe Lauren Mackey was one of the other honorees. But I do want to introduce to you some of the folks who are here this morning, because they, you know, one thing I've learned as a leader is that you do not do anything by yourself. Effective leadership is that you have a team with you and you recognize the importance of everyone that make you successful. So this morning I'd like to introduce just briefly some of the folks who are here with me this morning. I want to start with Leonard Tibbs, who has been my supporter and significant other for years. So Leonard Tibbs is here this morning.
Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you. And traveling from Atlanta, Georgia, to be here, part of the occasion of my chairwomanship is my niece from Atlanta, Georgia, Corliss Smalls, is here this morning.
Welcome.
And there are so many people here from the community that I think shows the kind of interest that our community has in water and in public policy. And so I'd like to introduce Ann Oliver, please. Ann, you're here. Katrina Davis.
And give Ann a round of applause.
Ann Oliver, Katrina Davis, Maywood Bush, Maywood, who's known for years, and Kern Price knows her in Inglewood. Velma Childress, Marche Kenny, a person in the Inglewood community has been there too. My stepdaughter who is here, Tiffany Kennedy. Tiffany, you're back there.
All right.
And I've also invited the chair and vice chair of the Black Employees Association for Metropolitan Water District. So I'd like to introduce Obigolu Chisholm, a young man who is an up-and-coming star in Metropolitan, along with Adrian Hightower, who is certainly one of the key staff managers there at Metropolitan. Adrian, you're there, right? Okay. And I have a very capable and outstanding special assistant that assists me in everything that I do, and that's Elisa Gueron. So when you call my office, you talk to her, Elisa. And I have great people on my team that help me through everything that I do, and that's Benita Horn and Ken Ashford. And the other evening I had an event, and I introduced Rosa Castro, and I said to folks, Rosa is Metropolitan's board secretary, and she's the first Latina board secretary, so Rosa Castro.
All right.
First Latino. So quite a first, quite a few firsts at Metropolitan. And then also from our community does a great job in terms of addressing the homeless issue, and that's Brenda and Linda Wilson. They do a great job in what they do at their facility. So thank you, Brenda and Linda, for what you do. Thank you for what you do. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Brenda. Let me first,
let me first ask that we give these folk who are all public servants a real round of applause, a real welcome. Thank you for your service, and thank you for spending time with us this morning.
And Council President Weston, another key staff person for Metropolitan Water District, and this young lady, when I first became chairwoman, she was always there to greet me and provide support. And that's Geraldine Walters. She's a key staff member of Board Services. So thank you, Geraldine. Thank you for being here. I hope I did not leave anyone else. So raise your hand if I did. But again, I want to just mention that this is Black History Month. I had the pleasure and honor of attending a Black History program at FAME, First African American Episcopal Church, last Sunday. And during that program, your Councilman Price was there, and Council President Herb Wesson, as well as your Mayor Garcetti, and Councilman Marquise Dawson was there, and City Attorney Mike Fuhr, and Ron Galvin was there, the controller, and a number of other, of course, it was just a huge program. And so I want you to know that.
Ms. Gray, hold on one second. Mr. Spindler, either take a seat and quit disrupting this meeting, or you'll be asked to leave. So that's your first and your last warning. Sorry about that.
Okay, thank you, Council President. I mentioned that because I was such an inspiring and spiritual moment for all of us to witness. And again, Black History Month, even though we're celebrating Black History this month, but it's always good to be reminded of where we came from. And so I just want to make note of the wonderful and spiritual experience that all of us had this past Sunday. I do also want to add that I am grateful for the recognition by Councilman Price this morning, but I do want to say that Councilman Price has provided great leadership. We come from the same city, and he talked about, from democracy in terms of wanting to make sure that you do engage in public service. And I think Councilman Price has done a great job in being a transformational leader in the new 9th District. And I think we should recognize that and give him that recognition. We kind of grew up together in politics, so I watch his career as well as he watches my career. And of course, I've known the council president for many years, and I'm very proud of you, Herb. Thank you. I just want to make a few comments. It is an honor to be invited to join you here today at this beautiful and majestic building to commemorate Black History Month. It makes me reflect fondly on the legacy of a man who helped transform Los Angeles, and that was former Mayor Tom Bradley. We cannot forget Tom Bradley. And he transformed the city into a more welcoming and diverse city for people from all walks of life. As the first and only African-American mayor in the city's history, Tom Bradley's political journey brought so many people together and helped pave the way for countless others. It is my priority to serve in the same spirit and hopefully inspire others as they pursue careers in politics, government, or any other profession. It is a great privilege to be the chairwoman of the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California Board of Directors, the first African American leader in its 90-year history. 90 years. And I actually am the first person of color to be the chair of that board. I happen to be African American, but I am the first person of color and the second woman to be in that position. I am not a typical water leader, and I often say that to folks. And I'm not, because I'm not an engineer, I'm not a farmer, not a scientist. I came to this role by working in the service of others. Councilman Price alluded to my public service. First in healthcare, I was a hospital administrator for a number of years. And then in education, I served on Inglewood Unified School District for a number of terms. That service prompted local water leaders like Don Deere and Ed Little that I often mentioned that came and actually recruited me and asked me to get involved in water. And I did win the seat, and I'm very, very excited about the number, about the, thank you, Councilman Price, about being in water. And I want to leave you with this thought, that Metropolitan is a strong agency. We're here to serve our 19 million customers. We do it with commitment. I am committed to being the chairwoman. I look forward to working with the councilman and the president of the board, president of the council. And I must lastly say about Mayor Garcetti. Mayor Garcetti has been a great partner with Metropolitan Water District. He is a great leader. He is a transformational leader also. So please give him my regards, and I look forward to continue to work with all of you. Thank you.
Will do. And you know, Mr. Price and Ms. Gray, if there's probably one thing that we as a people take for granted, it's water. And so we really, Gloria, appreciate you and your colleagues that do what's necessary to make sure that so many of us can just, you know, take advantage of, we just take advantage that it's going to be there. There are very few areas, people in Compton, people in Michigan, that will never take water for granted again. So we appreciate your service, and thank you.
Thank you for your insight. Thank you so much. Thank you, Glenn.
Yes,
Lovely.
Next, we have a young professional who is changing the world for our community, one student at a time. Ms. Shelby Williams Gonzalez, the newly appointed Executive Director of Artworks LA. Let's give her a hand. And she's joined with her husband, Beto. Artworks is a community-based nonprofit whose mission is to combat the epidemic high school dropout crisis by engaging students in long-term sequential arts programming offered that inspires them to stay in school and to evolve into unique individuals that flourish as creative adults. Shelby comes from a well-rounded background in the arts. She's worked for LA Unified School District, a place called home in the 9th District, the California Dance Institute, as well as working with the Downtown Women's Center. Artworks LA has 2 locations in my district, at the Santee High School and the Design and Media Academy on the John Adams campus. Let me present our change maker for the African American Legacy Awards, Miss Shelby Williams Gonzalez.
Let's give her a round of applause. Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Price, for inviting me here. I'm so excited to be a part of this celebration today, not just for Black History Month, but, you know, I celebrate being Black all year. It's really great. So I'm a proud second-generation Angelino here in Los Angeles. My parents grew up in, actually not far from the 9th District, and I'm a product of public school here in Los Angeles. And I've spent the last 15 years of my professional life being dedicating to bringing arts into continuation high schools and juvenile halls. I've been really privileged to be a part of a family and a network that allowed me to explore the arts. I'm also a dancer and choreographer with Vive Brazil, and I really believe in exploring and celebrating the African ancestry that is both here in the United States and in Brazil. And I use that platform to also share that with our students. So I think, like what was said earlier, that the wall is a made-up crisis. The fact that we don't have an equal part of access to education and arts, that is a real crisis here in Los Angeles, and I'm dedicated to fixing that problem. So thank you, Kern Price. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. Thanks.
Thank you, Shelby, for all you do and all that Arts Works does for the community. Now it's my real honor to introduce our Legacy Business Award to Mrs. Lorene Mackey. Come on up. Mrs. Mackey is, where are you? Okay, here you are. Mrs. Mackey is 89 years young and has been a resident of our city since 1957. She opened her own business in 1963 in the 9th District, Mackey Cleaners, and it was a real groundbreaking activity. At that time, she was one of the few black women owning and operating their own business in South LA. She was inspired by her boss, who sold her the cleaners for $500. He believed that she was the best fit for the place, since she had put in many years as previous years as a honored employee. One of the challenges she faced was learning how to run a business. She knew how to manage it from the labor side, but not from the business side. With time, however, she learned the ropes and ended up running a very successful small business that excelled. And I understand that she also became a pretty successful real estate investor during that time. The business was sold and tragically destroyed in the 1992 riots, Rodney King riots. But did I mention that she's going to be 90 years old in June? What's the date? June the 9th, 90 years old. Joining her today are her daughter Victoria, and a host of family and friends who are joining us from as far away as South Carolina and Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, let me present our Business Legacy Award to the one and only Mrs. Mackey.
Good morning, everybody. I am so proud to be here. I run my own business, took care of everything I supposed to, work hard, start where you are, work with what you got to get what you want, and I believe in working. And so, being my family, my sister come from Chicago. She come out to help me with my business when I first started, and so we work side by side. And so I'm just so proud to be here. I hope I have 20 more years added onto my life. This is going to add it. I can go sit down now.
Okay, well, yes, you can. Let's give it up again for Mrs. Mackey. 55th and Main, a legacy business in our community. She hired a lot of people. She cleaned a lot of clothes during those years. Thank you. Finally, members and friends, I'd like to honor a place and a moment in history. The original Wrigley Field and the 1963 Freedom Rally that was held in the 9th District 56 years ago. Roll the tape.
The original Wrigley Field opened on September the 29th, 1925, in the heart of Council District 9, on the corner of Avalon Boulevard and 42nd Place. It was constructed by William L. Wrigley, Jr., the founder of Wrigley's Gum and owner of the Chicago Cubs. It was built at a cost of just under $1 million. It hosted Major League Baseball teams in the region for over 30 years. Wrigley Field was home to the Los Angeles Angels during their inaugural season in 1961. Over the years, Wrigley Field hosted rodeos, concerts, fireworks, and other special events. The ballpark was even used as a backdrop for several Hollywood films about baseball, as well as the popular TV series Home Run Derby.
Foul ball way down the left field line, and that's all in the second inning. Harmon Killebrew picks up a home run and leads Mickey Mantle in the Home Run Derby contest at the end of an inning and a half of play by a score of 1-0.
On May 26, 1963, Martin Luther King was at Wrigley Field to address nearly 40,000 people at one of the largest civil rights rallies in the country, predating the famous 1963 March on Washington by almost 3 months. Wrigley Field is still remembered as the place where Dr. King stated, "Birmingham or Los Angeles, the cry is always the same, We want to be free.
Birmingham, Alabama, or Los Angeles, California, the cry is always the same: we want to be free.
His efforts that evening to connect Los Angeles to Birmingham helped to raise significant and desperately needed funds for the March on Washington and to assist in supporting the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. In 1969, Wrigley Field was demolished. In its place now exists the Gilbert Lindsay Community Park, the Teresa Lindsay Senior Center, and the Kedron Community Health Center. As we celebrate African American Heritage Month, we not only pay tribute to individuals, but also celebrate the locations where historical events help to define our legacy and change American history.
Yeah. Mr. President, members, I want to give special thanks to Channel 35 for helping put this video together. They do great work, and they went above and beyond. I also want to thank the California African American Museum for providing many of the visuals that you saw in the video. I'd like to encourage you to visit the CAM LA Freedom Rally exhibit, currently curated by Tyree Boyd Pates and Taylor Breth Porter at the California African American Museum. In conclusion, Mr. President, members, and to the public, I just want to say that the new Ninth and the old Ninth celebrate Black history every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well done, Mr. Price. Well done. Mr. Krikorian, if you're ready, the floor is yours. Yes, as they're leaving, you can begin to bring your folk up to the center aisle.
Well, thank you and good morning, Mr. President and colleagues. Members, in a moment, Mr. O'Farrell is going to be recognizing some of the great films and filmmakers that are being honored this year who were committed to producing here in Los Angeles. And I'm sure he's going to speak about the incredible economic benefit that that provides to all of us here in Los Angeles. So it's my great pleasure, and it's fitting that as we're doing that today, it's my great honor to introduce you to a man who has made that kind of production possible in the San Fernando Valley and throughout Los Angeles for nearly a half century. One of the great leaders of this industry, a great community leader, a great dedicated community servant, as well as one of the most important leaders of the film and television production industry here in Los Angeles, the president, longtime president of CBS Studio Center, Michael Klausman. Michael, welcome.
Give him a round of applause.
And it's with great mixed emotions that I'm presenting him to you today because Michael will be leaving the CBS Studio Center in Studio City. He will be, or has already, taken over operations at Television City and will continue in that role on behalf of its new owners. But we will dearly miss his presence in Studio City. Michael's been the head of both CBS Studio Center and Television City and other off-lot sites. He's always provided clear and steady leadership for the thousands and thousands of people who work in this industry, producing some of the most important films and television programs that we all get to enjoy. CBS Studio Center in Studio City is where Studio City got its name as Studio City. When Max Sennett first opened that studio in 1928, the same year that this building opened, And then it became Republic Pictures, where some of the great Western movies that you all grew up with were filmed. And then as CBS really took over as its principal tenant and owner, some of the greatest television shows in the history of television were produced right on this lot, including the Mary Tyler Moore Show, the Newhart Show, Hill Street Blues, so many others over the years that were produced at this lot. So this really is a treasure of history and an economic magnet and engine for all of the East San Fernando Valley today. And that has been largely under Michael's leadership and Michael's steady hand. Michael is a California native. He began his career at CBS in 1971. He started working as a page to support himself in college while he was studying to become a doctor, and his path diverged, and he sort of gave up medicine. I'm sure there's some patients somewhere that regret that decision, but the rest of us are very grateful for it because his path in the entertainment industry has been stellar. He worked his way up through the ranks at CBS, through the video library, a variety of production support jobs, became director of program production services. He became vice president and general manager of CBS MTM, and since 1991, has served as the president of the CBS Studio Center for nearly 3 decades. Under his leadership, the CBS Studio Center has been not only one of the most important employers in the East San Fernando Valley and one of the most important production facilities for this heritage industry that we all rely upon, but it's also been an environmental leader. CBS Studio Center was, I believe, the first major studio to be part of the Climate Action Registry, and in every step of the way, whether it's production of renewable energy, whether it's dealing with their recyclables, reusing their production materials, reducing their climate footprint in every way, CBS Studio Center has led the way. In addition to his work, Michael is a great gentleman. He's a great family man. He's been married to his wife, Becky, for 45 years? 47 years. And together they have 5 children and 10 grandchildren. When he's not running the operations of the studio, Michael also is an avid fisherman. He holds a black belt in Taekwondo. And in addition to that, he's been completely committed to our community. A lot of our business leaders play a prominent role in business, but they don't necessarily engage a lot with the community. That has not been the case. The opposite has been true with CBS Studios under Michael's leadership. Among other things, on the lot, we've had the 4th of July Fireworks Festival for many, many years, the Ovarian Cancer Coalition Walk Run, the Revlon Walk, Taste of Studio City. They're hosts to the Neighborhood Council, to the BID, and to the Chamber of Commerce. Every year, the Studio City Residents Association has their annual events there. The Valley Alliance of Neighborhood Councils has its annual event there. In every one of these respects, Michael has opened the door and welcomed the community in to be able to serve the community in that way. But he doesn't just do it at the studio. He does it personally as well. Michael has personally served on the boards of many of our most important organizations. He was president and treasurer of the Studio City Chamber of Commerce. He's been on the boards of Studio City Beautification Association, the Studio City Neighborhood Council, Studio City Business Improvement District, the Hope of the Valley Rescue Mission, and the Far East Broadcasting Company. So there really are very few people who've contributed more to the business life and to the community of Studio City than Michael Klausman, and we will dearly, dearly miss him. So please join me once again in recognizing the tremendous contributions of Michael Klausman to the East San Fernando Valley and all of Los Angeles as we wish him well on his next endeavor. You don't get to talk yet. And Mr. President, before I bring Michael up to speak, I would like to bring up to represent the Studio City community, John, if you could join me, I'd like to ask John Walker to come up. John has been, was the longtime president of the Studio City Neighborhood Council, was the director of the Studio City Business Improvement District, has been involved in every important Studio City organization, and I'd like John to say a few words on behalf of our constituents in Studio City about all that Michael has meant to us.
John, welcome. John, welcome, and thank you for your service to this great city. Why don't we give him a round of applause? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Councilman. Both as a community member and an activist in Studio City and being able to work here occasionally in City Hall, it's rare to meet somebody like Michael who just gives himself so freely, and all the facilities that he has at his disposal, he makes available to all the organizations the council member mentioned. He's always been available. He will take all the calls. He's a real member of our community, and he really is genuinely going to be missed. I'm happy for him because he's happy. I'm sad because he's not going to be available to us any longer. Michael and Becky, I wish you both great success. You will be missed. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, I'm proud to present to you our longtime friend, great leader of the East San Fernando Valley, who we will miss dearly, Michael Klausman. Michael.
Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you. I'm deeply touched by this recognition. At my age, any recognition is great. Paul Krikorian has been a wonderful leader in our area. We've worked well together, and I do appreciate his words. I actually am so impressed with myself, I may give myself the day off after this. Last Thursday was the end of my career with CBS after almost 48 years. And the facility was sold on that day at 12/18, finalized. It's owned now by Hackman Capital Properties, who Michael Hackman, the owner and founder, is probably one of the best persons I've ever met. I'll miss Paul Krikorian. Councilman Rue, I'm all yours now for the rest of my career. The plans ahead for Television City and the area are going to be astounding. In my career, it's been important not to be just a businessman, but a community leader and a community solver, problem solver, and being involved. We're part of the area. And I've always felt that way. And we're going to bring that to your district. We're going to try to make it better. TV City is probably one of the best facilities there is in the nation. We're going to try to improve it and grow upon that. I do appreciate everything that the council offices and planning department have done for us at Studio Center. And I know that you'll help us in the future. I'd like to recognize a few people here that have supported me, if that's possible. Sandra Reed Furnell, Katie Paul. When you called my office, they got you to me, and I really appreciate it. They pretty much ran the place and gave me the credit. And when I say this too, this is an honor being here. It's a team effort, all right? It has been a team effort at CBS. Also, I'd like to recognize one of my best friends, Sandra Reed's husband, Andrew. And back seated, who was a little shy to come up, Chris Anderson is the Chief Operation Officer for Hackman Capital Partners, and he'll help me be running TV City. I'd like to also introduce my wife of nearly 48 years, who has put up with me, who has taken care of me when I've been healthy and when I've been sick. And without her, I couldn't have lasted this long. I appreciate it. And finally, I'd like to say which meant a lot to me, an old general once said, "Old soldiers never die, they just fade away." Well, I'm not going to die for a while, and I'm not going to fade away. So I'm looking forward to working with the city, improving the city, helping Hackman Capital Properties be successful, and I thank you for the honor today. Thank you.
So, Michael, don't sit down yet. Don't sit down yet. On behalf of all of the members of the Los Angeles City Council and the Mayor of Los Angeles, Eric Garcetti, I'd like to present you with this resolution in thanks for all that you've contributed to this city for the last 47 years. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Well done, Mr. Krikorian, well done.
Ladies and gentlemen.
One more round of applause. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Yeah, I think you guys are going the wrong way. It's this way. Mr. O'Farrell for our final presentation of the day.
Colleagues, it is time for our 8th annual Made in Hollywood Honors, celebrating filmmaking during Oscar season here. The Oscars are a week from Sunday, so for the 8th year in a row, we recognize films that are produced locally in the city of Los Angeles. Big round of applause for the folks around me who brought films made here in Hollywood. We want to extend our sincere appreciation for all those involved in the production of locally based films and to recognize 5 California-produced motion pictures honored with a 2019 Oscar nomination in their category. While production decision makers have choices on where to film their motion pictures, there is no substitute for filming in Hollywood and in California. In addition to benefiting from the best talent, production infrastructure, locations, and, believe it or not, the weather these days, California-based projects also create quality middle-class jobs, strengthen our state's economy, and help preserve our signature industry. This is, as I mentioned, the 8th year in which we're celebrating these specific categories of Oscar-nominated films that showcase the exceptional talent our local production community has to offer. And these are in front of the camera, behind the camera. The first Made in Hollywood honors were awarded in 2012 after the program was established in 2011 by our former colleague, Councilmember Tom LaBonge, to raise awareness about the film and television production that is produced in the greater Los Angeles area and throughout California. And remember, this was at a time when we were just bleeding the jobs into other states and other countries, and we were losing jobs by the tens of thousands. Well, a lot has changed since then. I would like to thank my colleagues on the Los Angeles City Council, all of you, for your continued support of the Made in Hollywood Honors program and your support of the film and television industry, which is a crucial and significant employment sector for our region. Here's just some of the reasons I say that. In addition to honoring homegrown productions, we're also celebrating the fact that thousands of entertainment industry jobs are staying here in LA and within our state, thanks to the California Film and Tax Credit Program, otherwise known as AB 1839 and its extension now, efforts of our city and state to make this a film-friendly environment. The LA Economic Development Corporation reports that entertainment supports 160,000 jobs directly annually here in Los Angeles. But when you factor in the indirect jobs and now this incredibly growing digital media presence, the jobs in LA County related to entertainment, direct and indirect, account for nearly 700,000 jobs. The motion picture industry is the third largest employer in the county and the fifth largest in Southern California. Like me, all of you probably have entertainment professionals living on your street as neighbors or on your block, because we're everywhere. We'd now like to acknowledge our Made in Hollywood Honors sponsors, and as I call their names, I ask them to come to the podium for a group photo and a few remarks by Ilian Morden Kitchaven. So what I'd like to do, I know Paul Audley couldn't be here, but he's represented today, Film LA, by Donna Washington and Philip Sokolowski. We have Kim Roberts-Hedgepeth, Executive Director, Film Musicians Secondary Markets Fund. Susan Sprung, Associate National Executive Director, Producers Guild of America. I understand Amy Lemish is not able to be here today. But I also want to thank our partners at Hollywood and Vine, where we traditionally held this ceremony, and Dick Gutman, who always kept it going all these years. And I'd like to thank Ed Duffy and Stephen Dayon of the Teamsters Local 399. But first, I think before we present all these certificates, let's have Ilian say a few words. And again, Ilian from the, Ilian, I'm losing my from SAG-AFTRA, thank you. Without further ado, Ilian Morden Kitchaven.
Good morning. Thank you so much. As you know, I'm proud to represent the men and women of Screen Actors Guild AFTRA. But for this morning, I'd like to really talk about the below-the-line people. And to do that, I'd like to introduce my colleague, the head of the Teamsters 399, Stephen Dayon.
Good morning. I am happy to report that the state of our industry is strong. And and the reason that I say that is it's thanks to our council member, Mitch O'Farrell, and all of our council, city council, and our elected officials across the state, our great mayor, Eric Garcetti, for supporting our industry. You know, we represent 5,000, about 5,200 members who work in the film industry in Southern California, and I want to give you a few statistics that I think are quite impressive. I started work in the film industry in 1977, although I only look like I'm 29, I'm a little bit older. But I do want to say that last year, the motion picture industry health plans and pension plans that represent the below-the-line workers, the IATSE and the Teamsters and the basic crafts, reported the greatest number of hours ever reported to the plans in the history of the plans. Over 100 million hours were reported on behalf of all of our members, and it's thanks to you and our community. We are, as Councilmember O'Farrell said, we are part of your communities. We are your neighbors. We are your friends. And we really are grateful and appreciative to all the communities who allow us to film in their neighborhoods. We live in those neighborhoods as well. And it's an honor to work in this city and have our members stay at home. Another interesting statistic is that last year, over 96% of the stage space in Los Angeles was occupied. And that is a tribute to the California tax incentive and the credit. That has really made a huge difference. It's been a shot in the arm for all of the members that we collectively represent. So I would be remiss if I did not thank a few people. And the first person for me is Amy Lemish of the California Film Commission. I'm proud to serve as a board person on the California Film Commission. And I'd like to thank, obviously, Councilmember O'Farrell, the CFC, Film LA, who does an incredible job for the city and its constituents and for the industry. The Film Musicians Secondary Markets Fund, the Producers Guild of America, And of course, our great co-sponsor at 1600 Vine and Klein Financial Corporation. And of course, the members of my local, Teamsters Local 399. We are proud to be part of this community, and we're honored and we're grateful. And we wanted to say thank you very much on behalf of our rank and file members for supporting our industry and supporting our tax credit. And thank you, and happy Black History Month.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, SAG-AFTRA. Thank you, Teamsters Local 399. Thanks to our sponsors. Our Made in Hollywood Honor celebrates 5 Oscar-nominated films, as I mentioned, produced in Hollywood, either wholly or partly, and in the California region, which have been recognized with an Academy Award nomination for feature, motion picture, or animated feature. The first one we're going to honor today is A Star is Born from Warner Brothers Pictures. And we have Rick Schuler, location manager from A Star is Born, accepting the award. You right here. There we go. Thank you. And you want to say a few words? Sure. And Rick is going to say a few words. And Mr. Cedillo, Rick chose the Super A market on Division Street for one of the major location scenes in A Star is Born. So without further ado, Rick Schuler.
Thank you. And I'll say that it's going to show up in a new movie, too, the Quentin Tarantino movie. So you will see it again. I've been there 4 times, so I want some credit for that. Thank you very much on behalf of Warner Brothers. I've talked to a few producers. They're busy working on other projects, but they did want to convey thanks to you, Councilman O'Farrell, for putting this together, for honoring these type of movies. We're lucky to be a contender this year. I think we worked really hard. We are in neighborhoods all over the place, and to sort of second what Steve was saying, we're part of that community, and we are trying to make an attempt there to treat the neighborhood in a way that we want to be treated as well. And I think we've done that on A Star is Born. So on behalf of Warner Brothers, thank you for this recognition. Thank you for starting this, and I hope to see you next year.
Yeah. Good luck on that. Thank you, Rick. Who saw Vice? All right. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. From Annapurna Pictures, we have location managers Leslie Thorson and John Panzarella here. And I think John is going to say a few words and accept the award along with Leslie from the movie Vice.
Thank you, Councilman.
You bet.
You got it?
Okay. All right. Oh, they're going to take a picture first.
Don't take it yet.
Now, if you saw Vice, you know that some of the scenes were filmed at the City Hall Rotunda. All right, so John is going to say a few words about Vice.
Thank you, Councilman, and thank all of you here at the Council. We indeed consider it a privilege to be able to film here in this building and all over Los Angeles. I don't think there are very many places you could go that could represent as many different locales around the world as we did on Vice. We were in Cambodia, Syria, Kuwait, Vietnam. We were in 6 or 7 different states, all here in Los Angeles, yes, not to mention Italy. On behalf of Annapurna, on behalf of our director, Adam McKay, I want to thank you all for recognizing our film. And this is Leslie Thorson, my cohort of many, many pictures, if you want to say a word.
I just want to say thank you, and please do go see the movie. And it draws a very clear through line from, say, Nixon to what's going on today. So enjoy.
Thank you. From The Incredibles 2, Disney Pixar Animated Studios, we have Sabina Coach Sullivan, production manager Sabina.
Hi, it's an honor to be here today. We are located in Emeryville, California. We are 1,200 strong up there in the Bay Area, just across the bay from San Francisco. And we are honored to work every day here in California. We don't location scout. We work in the computers, but again, we're able to do it here in California, and it's an honor to work locally. So thank you for your support on behalf of our director, Brad Bird, producers, John Walker and Nicole Grindle, who unfortunately couldn't be here today. I want to say thank you, and thank you to Pixar and executives at Walt Disney. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sabina. And from Walt Disney Animation Studios, Walt Disney Pictures, we have Ralph Breaks the Internet, and we have producer Clark Spencer. Oh, there it is. Go ahead. Where's Clark?
Thank you, Councilmember O'Farrell and the LA City Council. On behalf of Walt Disney Animation Studios, we're very honored to be here today. You know, 95 years ago, Walt Disney built an animation studio not far from here on Hyperion Avenue. And Ralph Breaks the Internet is the 54th animated feature from the studio to be made here in Los Angeles. And every frame of the film is created right down the road from here, from the origins of the idea to the technology that's required to bring the internet to life, to the storyboarding, the visual development, the animation, the effects, the lighting, even the research. We came to downtown LA to go to a building called 1 Wilshire Boulevard. That building houses all of the internet connections for the entire West Coast, and that became our inspiration for this film. So it all happened right here. There's 550 artists and technicians from over 30 countries who made this movie, who all moved to LA specifically because they wanted to make animated films. And I'm one of those people who 29 years ago moved from New York to LA to be a part of this great community. And I thank you today for celebrating one of the many great things about this city. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. And earlier on introductions, I failed to mention Jane Austen, also from SAG-AFTRA. So welcome everyone. Welcome, Jane. And lastly, from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Sony Pictures Entertainment. Okay, we have... you got a fan favorite right here in Mike Bonin. Josh Beveridge, head of animation, accepting the honor.
Thank you very much. This is a huge honor to be able to accept this award on behalf of Sony Pictures Animation and ImageWorks. And as head of character animation, I'm very proud to work for a production company that makes its films here in Los Angeles. While our story was technically set in New York, Los Angeles is a big, beautiful melting pot, and we worked really hard to make a story that felt like it included absolutely everyone. And we hope that we made our fellow Angelenos proud. Thank you.
All right, so everyone's had their Oscar acceptance rehearsal speech now right here in LA City Hall. I just want to say this. The Academy Awards has chosen not to air the awards for cinematography, editing, live action short, or hair and makeup. So let's urge them to air those awards because they are critical. So congratulations, honorees. We're so happy that you have dedicated your profession and your investments in local and California talent, and we congratulate you and wish you nothing but the best at the Academy Awards. Thank you. We're going that way? Okay.
Oh, Mr. O'Farrell. I'm so sorry, guys. Please don't go yet. I forgot to recognize Mr. Bonin. Mr. Bonin.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Mr. O'Farrell, for bringing these folks in. You know, we all represent the film industry. There are actors, producers, set designers, sound engineers in each of our districts. And it's been great to see the work that you and Mr. Krikorian and of others have done to keep the film industry here in Los Angeles. I have too many friends who disappear for 6 months a year because they're in Louisiana or they're in Vancouver. So thank you all for being here. And I echo your sentiments about the huge slight and offense that the Academy Awards is doing to the people who are critical of the industry. It's BS, so thank you for that. But I had to rise to say a few words about Spider-Verse. I am a DC guy, but we are a Spider-Verse household. Without a doubt, one of the best superhero and one of the best animated films ever, bar none. I have a 5-year-old who is all about Spider-Verse. He has been many times, and it was enjoyed as much by the adults who brought him as it was by he and his friends. And, I mean, the animation was amazing. The story was great. The thing I want to give you a shout-out about, and I have the music in my head because it's all we play in my car, merchandise all around the house, is that the movie was good role modeling for everyone. The lead character, the hero of the movie, is Afro-Latino. And really the most competent superhero in the whole movie is Spider-Gwen. And it was a great movie for young kids to see and for adults to enjoy. So thank you. It really is a phenomenal piece of work. Yeah.
Mr. Buscaino.
Tell me something, girl. Are you happy in this modern world? So I'm rooting for Star is Born. I tried out for the part. I know now why I didn't make it, but nonetheless, made in Hollywood. You know, I remember as a kid growing up in San Pedro, where on 19th Street, I met Frank Poncherelli, where they filmed Chips. Or down at Ports of Call, where I met Tattoo, where they filmed Fantasy Island. And the importance of keeping filming in Los Angeles really contributes not only to our local economy, keeps jobs here, but also contributes to our ever-growing tourism industry as well, where we just celebrated our 50 millionth passenger tourists coming in Los Angeles just in 2018. So we all know that the art, entertainment, and culture make up the fabric of our city. And I do want to also recognize the workers behind the scenes. Of course, our actors are incredible, but the SAG-AFTRA, our IATSE brothers and sisters, our Teamsters brothers and sisters, we keep those jobs here every time we keep filming in Los Angeles. From the actors, the camera crews, the producers, the DPs, makeup artists, really takes a toll on, and it has an impact when we do have filming in Los Angeles. So I want to recognize also Mr. O'Farrell for bringing you all here. Reminds us the importance of continuing and lobbying our state leaders to not only continue the tax film credit, but also expand it too, because I'm also hearing that oftentimes that $300 million is just not enough. So let's do our part to get Sacramento, and I know leaders here around this horseshoe were instrumental in Paul and former senators and assembly members who advocated for that, and we owe it to them to continue that. So thank you so much for all that you do. Let's win big, and we'll be rooting for all y'all. Thank you.
Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'm sure all of you have seen that old map of California that's divided up with all of the different countries that can be shot in California. And Sam Goldwyn famously said, "A rock is a rock, a tree is a tree, shoot it in Griffith Park." You can do anything in this industry right here in Los Angeles and right here in California. But as a number of us have alluded, and as Mr. O'Farrell pointed out, it had become extremely difficult for this industry to be able to do this. And we were on the verge of losing this industry, our heritage industry, the industry that probably more than any other defines what people think about California and Los Angeles throughout the United States and throughout the world. And many of you who are standing here, Steve and Ilian and Ed and many of you went up to Sacramento relentlessly to try to get the first film and television production tax incentive passed. And I remember well when I was there how it was hard to get people to still try, because they had been frustrated so many times by a legislature who just didn't seem to give a damn, really. And there had been so many failures in trying to get that first tax incentive done that people had pretty much given up hope. You did not, and you stayed with it, and because of that we were able to enact the first film incentive and then build upon it and continue to grow it, and that really has been the difference in saving this industry and saving the people who don't wear suits to work, but wear jeans to work. The people who don't carry briefcases, but carry toolboxes. Those are the people who get to work because your production stays here. So congratulations to all of you on your great creative success. But thank you also for your commitment to staying here in California and Los Angeles. And I just want to say one last thing. I was in Washington with the Chamber one year, and I will never forget hearing Chris Dodd, who was then the head of MPAA, talking about how he would come out to California as a United States Senator and go to fundraisers, probably once a month. Everybody in the Senate comes out to California to hit the ATM, right? And it was so important that he said, I keep coming out for fundraisers. I go to homes in Mike Bonin's district or Paul Koretz's district, and I meet with the people who lead this industry, and they tell me about foreign policy. They tell me about, every issue you can imagine except one, saving the film and television industry. That one never seems to come up because of people's interests in so many other things. So I would just urge you, please, you are all storytellers. You have a voice that is like no other voice in your ability to move people and shape what they think about things. Please use that voice. We will continue to stand with you, but you have to use your voice as well in advocating for this industry in Sacramento, in Washington, so that we can continue to have the success that we've had in keeping production here. So congratulations to all of you. Best wishes and success to all of you, and thank you again for shooting here in Los Angeles and California.
Mr. Blumenfield.
Well, I wanted to add my voice. I mean, seeing so many friends here, you guys have done an amazing job. And Steve, when you said, the state of the industry is strong, I remember, was it like 8 years ago when I started on the Film Commission with you, that wasn't the tune that we were singing. And I was on that Film Commission for 5-6 years and worked with you and so many others to see that get turned around. And it's so nice to be able to hear some of the things that you're saying about record numbers, that the work is paid off over time, that the credit is making a difference, and that critical piece that we talked about the industrial base, that if we got past that saturation point and we lost that industrial base, it would dissipate. And that, the point of the tax credit wasn't just about a dollar for dollar kind of thing. It was about how do we leverage our industrial base, what's kept us together. It doesn't take that much. We don't need as much as all these other areas. We just need to keep the core together, and then we'll see the benefit of it. And that's what's happening today, and it makes me proud, and I wanted to say thank you to all of you for the hard work that you've done to make it happen over the years. So thank you.
Okay, let's give him one more round of applause. Congratulations. Thank you for all your work. Okay, Madam Clerk, what we're going to do now, we'll go into our multi-comment section. And Ms. McAllister, are you still around? So the items that are available to speak on today are items 9, 10, and 11. Welcome. The floor is yours.
It says 1 minute on here. Okay, item number 9 here. Another thing, Mr. President, on the web, you said that meeting at 8:30 was canceled. We're going to have to deal with this stuff, not informing us about these meetings. Number 9, you're listing rent escrow accounts, properties that people didn't have to pay the rent until things were fixed. You took out the liens, and I know why, because you're having hundreds of liens a month on people. People are leaving this city and this state like you wouldn't believe. And I think we should know who these liens are on, and it should be on the agenda. Number 10, you want to, talking about keeping facilities clean and efforts to the vermin and all of that pest control. Well, you've legalized illegal aliens selling poison on the street. You think we have some diseases now, you wait until they hit the street. They have no refrigeration, they have no way of taking care of that food, and you put them on the street, and we have to pay their medical bills when they get poisoned and when they spread these diseases, because they are working in our restaurants and everywhere all around our city. So I think we need to do something about that. I also think that we need to attract businesses back into our city and our state. These businesses have been threatened with all kinds of regulations. In 2018,
so we seem to be off topic a bit, Miss. Could you get
back on topic?
Excuse me? I'm on my topic. I'm on topic 9, 10, and 11. Now, about these maps and whatnot, we need more information about that because it's not telling us much here. Let's get back to these illegal aliens. Okay, now, the illegal aliens, I have a problem with us having all of these diseases spreading and in City Hall. Okay, I have a problem with that and the fact that you allow these illegal aliens to stand on the street and sell that garbage. And they're all on Wilshire.
So it does seem to be
selling garbage. And
we're pretty far from item 10, Mr. President.
This is about these diseases. You want to start exterminating and whatnot, and I'm telling you that you're spreading more. You know, you need more than extermination. When you allow these illegal aliens to stand on the street and sell that poison with no regulation.
Okay, Ms. McAllister, why don't we go to general public comment? You'll have more flexibility there.
My general public comment, I want to thank President Trump for declaring a state of emergency. That is what we need, and Americans are with him. According to the Investor Business Daily, 1,800 companies left California in 2016. Why are they leaving? They're leaving because this state and this city will not allow them to fire and not hire illegal aliens. And they were afraid to violate federal immigration laws. That's why they're leaving. Yes, go to Business Daily. See, they don't tell you about that in these city council meetings. They're hurting for money in this state and this city with all of these illegal aliens. You cannot uphold a city and a state with 40 million illegal aliens. You can't do it. And I think that you politicians are taking money and drug money from the drug cartels. That's why you're holding up these illegals across the United States, especially in these sanctuary states. I believe you're taking money and drugs, and many of you are addicted to drugs.
Thank you, Ms. McAllister. Let's bring up Mr. Herman, items 9, 10, and 11. Please stay on topic. The floor is yours.
Relative of various properties. Well, you know what rent control is about. Rent control is about reaping people for violations simply because their trash or chinchero in their front yard doesn't please you. See, certain cultures have a different way of storing their shit in their property. The same way the city stores their fucking rats on REIT properties. Now, I believe you should go after these landlords and investigate whether or not your rats are their rats in these properties. Because based on these allegations of violations, I find you insensitive, harmful, and full of shit. In addition to that, such as in CD1, I want to thank Mr. Cedillo, who does a fine job of getting back East Martha Street under REIT. Not like you snakes. And then what about item C, CD8? Mr. Price, all you bros are here to celebrate my day, Martin Luther King. But today I'm here because I'm here to the salvation of my brothers off of West 112th Street. And that's what Mr. Kevin Price does. He does it all for you all, simply because we are black and you are white politicians who want to get back at us in our REIT properties, niggas. So let's go to the conclusion of my short time here. What about the rats? What about the varmint on item number 10? Are we going back to a medieval crisis? Is this a result of unsanitary conditions in which the public has addressed about the quality of life that we have asked this city to participate in, and all you could do is fuck us in the ass with more taxes and liens? The severity of disease varies with each population and groups, especially wetbacks like you politicians. And not realizing that this disease has exasperated the unsanitary conditions by exposing I, myself, and my pet to your fucking fleas. You politicians are like fleas. I have to scratch, pick, and pulgar my pinche culo like this. First Amendment. But hepatitis, influenza, pneumonia, typhus, this outbreak has nothing to do with fleas and rats. Fuck you. Stick your rats up your ass.
Let's give him his 1 minute.
So, as the American people have not heard, we are exasperated by the unsanitary conditions brought by Jose Huizar from Zacatecas and Mommy Nuri from whatever fucked up Mexican country she came here with. Haven't you seen Alvarado and 8th Street? Don't you understand why there are varmints on the streets? You got all this fucking mixed use on the sidewalks where people don't have access to safely walk, and they're discarding their shit and trash and food into the street and the curb, and you white niggers don't go out there to clean it, except when you have to. Except when you have to. That's why the city attorney's office is full of rats, because they look like Mr. Fauble up there, uncircumcised fucking Jew with a little dick.
Stay on the topic.
And so, get your shit together, clean our sidewalk and streets, and let's help Trump rebuild this city. Fuck you.
Okay, let's get Ryan Farsi. Ryan, you can speak on 9, 10, 11. Nine, 10, and 11, and then your general public comment.
Good morning, Mr. Wesson. Honorable council members, my name is Ryan Farsai, and I'm here to speak on number 9, 10, and 11, my general public comment. Number 9 is, again, it's a resolution removing various properties from the rent escrow account. So, as Mr. Hemron said, this is just you guys cleaning up your files here, as you do all the time. You levy and you assess, and then you clean up your mess. Number 10 is the Department of General Services and Personnel Department to provide a progress report on efforts to address vermin and pest control issues within the Civic Center complex, city buildings, and or city-owned and or operated facilities in the downtown Los Angeles community. Well, that one's pretty interesting. I know you have some problems across the street upstairs where the attorney's office is. They have a nice glass wall, but they don't really help you with the vermin over there. The last one is this final maps in the various council districts. So again, you have to subdivide these parcels in order to make it to make more money. Sometimes you tear down a building and you put 2 parcels, put 2 buildings, and then you make money this way. So the question I have for the city clerk, I've had it for several months now, and she pawned me off to the city controller. The question was very simple. What are you guys doing with our money? How are you spending the money? You had a 6% increase from year over year. I'm not talking on my public comments, sir, city attorney. I have 1 minute on my
we'll take you to the general public comment. Thank you.
Please do not please start my 1 minute again. My public comment is very simple. The city does not know how to spend our money. They're not good at following a budget. The GDP was 2.2% or something. You guys had a year-over-year increase of like 6 or 7% on your budget. Your city clerk has no idea how much money she's spending. It's pretty similar. I think you guys are copying the United States model. Don't make money, just lose the money and spend it all on people's backs. The question is, when are we going to actually address this problem called deficit spending in the United States of America? Is City of LA going to step up and do something like that? Or all you council members just going to come here, Mr. Buscaino, Mr. Police Department, and do nothing about saving the people, serving the people? That's what your job is up there, to serve the people. Thank you, and God bless America. My name is Brian Farside.
If I could get Ms. Ramirez to come forward. You have items 9, 10, and 11. Please stay on topic, and then your general public comment.
Number 9. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I passed number 9. Number 10, how much is this progress report costing the taxpayers? Now, Councilman Joe Buscaino said that the homeless are to blame, and I agree in part with Joe Buscaino. Yes, 99% of the homeless are nasty, filthy, caca-encrusted, filthy pigs. They do not wash, they do not bathe, they just are disgusting fucking crackheads and junkies. And they're the ones that bring on this full of vermin, rat infestation, MRSA, bed bugs, scabies, and staph viruses. They are saturating not only the restaurants, the hotels, and all the areas, but they're also brought it into the city hall. So your couch cushions are saturated with bed bugs. Again, if your ass is itching, you got scabies and MRSA and bed bugs up your ass. So again, no one has fumigated the city hall. So we are not going to pay for you to rip off the carpets and repaint the walls, Herb Wesson. We are not going to pay for that. You're going to do it out of your own slush fund monies. So you're going to rip out the carpets, pay it out of your kids and your children's college fund money, not our tax money. Because you see, we sleep on the fucking streets. Okay, we pay enough high taxes for all this shit, but we told you a long time ago, fumigate, disinfect, and deport the fucking wetbacks and gangbangers and all the mother.
Okay, now you've got to move on to Ms. Ramirez. Now you have to move on to one of your other items.
All right, sir. And having said that, and I'd like to go to my
Give her 1 minute.
My 1 minute. I wish we had our great and honorable LAPD Chief Daryl Gates, who never rewarded the fucking criminals like our present LAPD Chief Michael Moore, who is a failure in public safety. Chief Daryl Gates, may you rest in peace. You did a great job in public safety. You kept us safe. Incidentally, the Hollywood bisexual entertainment industry that is run by trannies, lesbos, fags, pimps, crackheads, pedophiles, twisted, perverted thieves, and Masonic assholes. Let's not forget the big enchiladas who run the perverted criminal visual enterprises, but your goddamn den of thieves, your satanic elite fucking Jews. Yes, they espouse violence, high crimes, drugs, rock and roll, crimes against women, theft. They also espouse and perpetuate gang violence, homelessness and poverty, and destruction of Trump in America, i.e. the ugly Latino chango wetbacks and gangbangers, who they hire throughout their industry. Also your Skid Row niggers and your white trash junkies. And no, they are not victims. We are the victims. So fry their fucking asses, and the Oscars will be held at Skid Row. Thank you for your fucking depression.
Thank you. Okay, if I could have, thank you, Mr. Spindler, items 9, 10, and 11. Then your public comment, general public comment, but you have to stay on items 9, 10, and 11.
It was very, very exasperating. Yes, that's good. So yes, we start out today with the REAP program on CD1. It's the great Gil Cedillo, and he's currently over there in the corner finalizing the deal.
What deal?
Well, he's going to finalize the deal to take every property off of REAP in his district. Let's give him a hand. Good job, you Gil, yes. Now we get to the other... Let's get to the co-defendant section, yes. So we have co-defendant CD6 on B. On West Van Owen Street. We have finally gotten that property off of REAP. You thieving bitch. How can you do that to him? Yes, and then we get to the Marx Brothers, known as the Ghetto Brothers, on CD 8 and 9, Marchese, Weezer, Dawson, and Sleazy Curran Price. Yes, they have paid you off for years. And finally they get off of REAP only because of FBI threat of intimidation. Yes.
Now you have to move to another item.
We get to item 11. Item 11 is a map in CD 4. Take a look on it, people. This plot map is shaped like a cock. Yes, that's right, and we don't like it on North Clark Risa Avenue, easterly of Commonwealth. So that's why the LLC surveyor, $9,000 fucking dollars for this property map. You thieving son of a bitch, you Korean thief, you fucking cocksucker. No to the $9,000, waive the fees. You promised the developer, you asshole. And then we get to our brothers and sisters. As an equine advocate, I advocate for animal rights. You're going to try to slaughter my brother and sister rodents. They live here. We love our fellow rats. Rats are good. Rats eat trash. Rats also help the FBI too, don't they? Yes, the rats on the fucking property. Look at Jose Weezer, that fucking rat, yes, and his brothers and sisters are out there with fleas. They don't have fleas. What they have is a disease called FBI-itis. These fucking rats are all crawling out of the corners underneath your floorboards, and they're looking for all the recording devices that have been planted here for the past 5 fucking years. I put up a fourth of them.
We veered off of item 10.
Okay, let's give him his 1 minute for general public comment.
Fucking snitch, punk bitch. Yes, we have all of the recording devices here, in the roofs, in the walls. And then what did you do, Mr. Spindler?
Well, I went to Jose Weezer's office.
And what did you tell him?
I told him to remove the walls and the carpets and the fucking ceilings and look for recording devices.
Yes! See, Herb, it wasn't rats, you dumb shit. It was for the bugs, not the rats. You were supposed to look for bugs, not rats. These people don't understand. They're going to go and bullshit this emergency to look for the recording devices. Once they find them, they think they'll challenge it in federal court to suppress the recordings. Yes. So we know all of this shit. And then Wizard, he's waiting to be indicted. I'm waiting every day. I'm not going to resign. I'm waiting to be indicted. I'm waiting to be indicted. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Mr. Previn. Mr. Previn, 9, 10, 11. And then your general public comment.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It's Eric Previn from Studio City. And obviously, for the record, it is the Year of the Pig. Last Friday, I think we were celebrating that. It was a very beautiful ceremony with the dragons and the throwing.
Come on, Mr. Previn.
You know, I'm
11.
acknowledging that item 10 is about your exploration, sir. You're trying to get to the bottom of what's been going on with the various vermin in the corridors and such, and I've been trying to help out. I know you mentioned last week that the county had received some complaints, so I did a little quick request over to the County of Los Angeles, and they can't locate them, sir. So I assume that they will, because everything takes another minute. The other question that arose was, I know you got Cats USA is your longtime contract. We asked for their existing contract, which has not yet been provided. Now, Royster and Pascal know where to find that. I don't know why they're withholding it. It's an appropriate thing to look at as we move forward with this diligent work. And then the question has arisen, what are the instructions that were given to the pest control individuals if during their exploration and investigation, and I know Krikorian's busy now, but if there's a wire, if they find any kind of a recording device, are they instructed to
So this
to do
also
what?
seems to be off of topic number 10. Please get back on topic.
Well, I disagree, because 10 is about the question of the rats and then...
Mr. Previn, just stay on topic.
Well, sorry, I am on time. You keep interrupting me, but...
No, we're going to go to your
the
general
report,
public
the
comment.
report that you ordered, sir, has not yet been provided. It's going to be orally delivered today. Speaking of oral reports, February 19th, up in Ethics Commission, but also down at the state court, we're going to be reviewing your special meeting practices. Now that
Okay, let's give him his 1 minute
if you
for
want to,
general
sir. I
public
mean, I'm trying
comment.
to educate you about what's happening, and I'd like to request that
You now have
Michael
your general
Fior,
comment.
Okay, general public comment, fair enough. Michael Fior, who's the city attorney, ought to come down and argue for himself. I know Greg Smith just hired Myers Nave for $600,000 to push through 200,000 truck trips while Bonham was out on holiday. They're going to lawsuit about that. But Mike's got to fight this lawsuit himself. It's about denying the public access to the comment moment on special meetings. Now, you know, sir, special meeting, even one of your regular public comment got fooled today because you move these meetings around, you pop them over here, pop them over, revised. When you give 24-hour notice, guess what? You put something on the agenda, your legislative body is going to approve it, you got to take a public comment. That's what the law says. Mike Fior wants to fight and spend money to say, no, we're not going to take those comments from the people. So we'd like him to come down and tell the appellate court why. That would be very helpful, so then the people would understand what we're dealing with. Now, sir, I know you're trying, and I know you're doing a great job, but you got to work a little harder. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes our multi-comment. We will get to the general public comment after a conversation that we'll have on this council. But right now, I want to vote on items 9 and 11. So on 9 and 11, if you could please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, now item 10 is before us, Madam Clerk. I'd like to call up the folk from the department, general services, personnel. We might have some visitors with us today from public health. And if we have any representatives from the contractors that are helping us try to get a handle on this. Well, anyway, first let me welcome all of you here today and just re-emphasize how serious we take this issue. That's why we want to get an update on where we are, and I want to let you know in advance we may call for an update next week or 2 weeks. So just know that you guys should be ready because we take this situation very seriously. We have a lot of responsibilities, none more important than taking care of the people that visit this great civic center and the individuals that work here. Before I ask for your report, I just want to lay out a couple of quick things so that maybe you could incorporate them into the presentation that you're going to be bringing. Mr. Koretz mentioned last week concern where it relates to rugs and how they're disposed of or what have you. Now, it's my understanding that we got a grant or some funds where these rugs would be taken to special locations or recycled or something like that. So I would like to hear, a response to that. His concerns are legitimate. And if somebody would also talk about briefly the types of materials that we use to try to contain or kill these rats to make sure that they're not harmful for anyone else. If we have sanitation somewhere around, and I see sanitation is here, they should come up and try to address some of the concerns that were brought up by Mr. Buscaino, where it relates to the issues that we have in or around the streets. I really want us to get to the facts, because I do not want to have people who are unfortunately living on the streets blamed for something that they might not have anything to do with, but they're just an easy target. So I want us to be fair. Sure. I want us to be real fair to them, but it's important that we understand the scope of the problem so that we can, in fact, try to deal with it. Also, I want to see if there's been conversations or coordination with the Personnel Department and Channel 35, because I think that it's important that we somehow figure out a way to inform our staff the types of things that they can do to protect themselves. There should be protocols where it relates to, in the event that you see a flea or some kind of bug, there should be protocols where it relates, and I mean protocols, not some loosely, I mean protocols. In the event that someone is bitten, there should be a process, there should be a line to call, so I guess that's about it, but these are some of the things that I would like to hear. And then there have been a variety of recommendations as to how we move forward. I had a conversation with a couple of folk in the media last week and some regular people that suggested we use aggressive feral cats. Now, maybe those cats get rid of the rats, but what happened? Do the fleas jump off of the rats and onto the cats, and we still have a problem? So we really need to take this seriously, and we really need to come up with a way to elevate the comfort level of all of the people that come into this building. And lastly, I did speak to the city attorney that had been bitten, and she's doing better. Everybody should know that. She still has some vertical issues, but she's getting better, looking forward to coming back to work, but her comfort level is not quite there as of yet. And if somebody could reference, I mean, how do you, is it possible to fumigate structures like this? Is there a 26 story tall tent where you could do that? Mr. Spindler, Mr. Herman, sergeants, remove them. They've been warned, so they have them removed. So these are the kinds of answers. These are the kinds of answers that I'd like to get from you. So whoever wants to begin the presentation, begin. And members, this will be open to all of you for any and every question that you have. One second. I want to make sure that Mr. Spindler and Mr. Herman are removed. They were warned earlier. They're disrupting this meeting, and this is too important to thousands of people that come into this building on a daily basis. So let's have them removed. Wait 1 second. I want them removed. Are you saying that you don't want to be removed? You're resisting? Mr. Spindler, Mr. Herman, leave now. No, just leave. Mr. Spindler, you have been removed, or you are going to be removed. Sergeants, let's quickly have the two of them removed. Mr. City Attorney, he's still disrupting this meeting. He was warned.
Yes,
He is
Mr.
still
Spindler
disrupting this
is being very loud as he leaves. And Mr. Herman is taking his time. They were asked to leave. They refused to do it. They've been ordered removed. And now Mr. Herman is shouting as he leaves. And he's still shouting.
He's still disrupting the meeting.
Yes.
All right, so they've been removed. Let's make sure we note that. Okay, Mr. Royster, let's go back to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for allowing us to report back on an update on the activities and steps we are taking to address this issue. GSD personnel and LA County Public Health Department is here to update you on we're addressing this issue. We are here today to give you a status of the floor-by-floor inspection conducted by our pest control expert, also a status of the cleaning and abatement activities by Street Services, Bureau of Sanitation, Recreation and Parks within the Civic Center. As it relates to the rugs removal, we're working very closely with the Bureau of Sanitation when it comes to disposal of carpets and exactly making sure we follow the process of recycling. So I'm in contact with the Bureau Director, and we're working together to put a program of what carpet that we remove from City Hall or City Hall East or any facility that they are to be recycled. As it relates to the 4x4 inspection, I'll have my Assistant General Manager, David Pascal, to give you an update and more details on that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. Last Friday, when I appeared before the council, I shared with them that we had brought our annual vendor, who is responsible for pest control, back to the Civic Center, and that last Friday, they were inspecting each and every floor in City Hall East, each and every floor in City Hall, and doing as thorough an inspection as possible. And they were looking for rodent droppings, and they were looking for any indication that there were fleas in the area. They, in addition to that, just to ensure us that we have thoroughly inspected each of these areas, they placed flea traps at the ground level and in the ceiling area. And early this morning, our annual vendor returned to the Civic Center and started removing those traps, examining those traps to determine if we have fleas in specific areas of the Civic Center. That information will be compiled over the next several days, and we're planning next week to sit down with our annual vendor and have a discussion with the vendor about the findings and more specifically the recommendations for eliminating any rodents or fleas that have been detected as a result of the traps. So they are in the process of doing that today. You may have seen their trucks in the Civic Center. That process will be completed by the end of the day, and we should have some better information next week on exactly the location of any flea or rodent infestations in the Civic Center.
Mr. Meloff will be providing an update on the cleaning and abatement activities that are being provided by Street Services, Sanitation, and Recreation and Parks.
There are 4 major efforts that have been underway for the last 30 days or more to address rodent and pest issues at the exterior of Civic Center buildings. Most of these efforts have been implemented in consultation with our vendor CATS and the LA County Health Department. First, LA Sanitation will initiate weekly comprehensive cleanups of the Civic Center. Outreach and notification has commenced, and signage will be posted soon. We expect the LA Sanitation cleanups to begin prior to the end of February. The Bureau of Street Services has also increased the frequency of street cleaning around the Civic Center to several times a week. Second, the Department of Recreation and Parks has started work on trees and landscaping in the Civic Center. They harbor rodents. They can sometimes harbor rodents and pests, and also sometimes serve as a food source for them. The Department of Recreation and Parks identified 103 trees, including palm trees, that will be pruned at City Hall South, City Hall East, the Triforium area, and the South Lawn at City Hall. The tree trimming work began today, early this morning, on the LA Street side of City Hall South, and will continue in phases until all the trees have been pruned. Street Services also identified 58 trees on sidewalks and in the streets around the Civic Center, which they will also trim. With regard to landscape areas, the Department of Recreation and Parks initiated trimming vegetation and removing ground cover from the raised planter beds and the circular concrete containers located at the west entrance to City Hall East, consistent with the recommendations made by the County Health Department. Third, GSD will install a mesh with diamond plate reinforced corners over the grate that surrounds City Hall as recommended by BOE and our vendor to keep the pets and trash out of the grate and allow for airflow. Prior to the installation of this grate, the entire area will be cleaned by our custodial forces and inspected again so that if there are any new points of entry identified, they can be sealed. We also expect this work to be completed before the end of February. Fourth and last, the Bureau of Street Services continues to monitor the rodent burrows around the Civic Center and the 114 tree wells that were treated in December. In the last 2 weeks, the Bureau of Street Services reports that there has been no need to retreat these tree wells. That concludes my presentation. Representatives from some of these agencies are also here to answer any questions you may have.
Okay.
We can turn it over to departmental personnel with additional information they may have.
Okay.
Good morning. Thank you again for bringing this important issue forward. We have been in communication not only with General Services and our city agencies, but also our partners at the LA County Department of Public Health. We have a number of representatives here from LA County, both on the medical side and also on the environmental side, who were involved in the inspection. So they may be able to answer any more detailed questions that you may have. You mentioned the protocols and the processes. We have recently issued a safety bulletin on the reports of flea-borne typhus, which has been distributed to all of the safety coordinators throughout the city, as well as many of the offices here. And it sets forth that if anyone feels that they saw rodents or experienced flea bites, they should report the incident to their supervisor without delay, and also seek medical attention if any symptoms that are consistent with typhus appear. And that can take up to 2 weeks after the initial bite. The doctor is here who has obviously more of the expertise, but they should also, the supervisors will then alert the department's facilities management staff or General Services about the incident. So there's also additional information that we disseminated to people, including something that the county issued just this past week, as well as a frequently asked questions document that may help to alleviate people's concerns. Typhus cannot be spread from person to person, and it shows you what you should do. We've also reached out to Kaiser and Anthem, who are our medical providers here at the city. They don't have any sort of custom-made communications because they haven't really been experiencing any large number of cases, but they're more than happy to work with the city and put our content or LA County's content onto their website, our micro website, so that employees also can have that as an additional vehicle to get information. My staff has been reaching out to Channel 35, but I don't have the results of that yet about what the best collaboration will be, but we certainly will work with them.
And it may be none, but I do think there should be a conversation about how we can make sure we pass data on to the people that work here and the people that view Channel 35.
Absolutely. The more information people have, the better informed they can be, the better. This may help employees not only if they're concerned about City Hall, but in other aspects of their life where they may come in contact with fleas, whether it's hiking at a dog park, et cetera. I want to defer to the medical professionals. We have a doctor here, Dr. Terashita, who's a medical epidemiologist, an expert from the LA County Department of Public Health. who has addressed some of our city family before on matters such as this. And again, we also have several other representatives from the county who are on the environmental side, if you have questions about some of the things that can be done in terms of remediation.
Okay, I tell you, Doctor, and the rest of your crew from the county, thank you guys so much for coming. Would like to see if you would just share some thoughts with us, maybe going forward, how, things that we could do, or whatever you feel compelled to say. Trust me, we want to hear.
Well, thank you. First, I'd just like to thank everyone. I mean, this has been a great partnership with the LA City, and I think we've worked very well together over the past few months to make sure the people of LA County are safe. So I think a lot has been said. What you've done is very thorough. Typhus is a disease that we see every year in LA County. This is not new. We consider it endemic here, but we have been seeing a rise in cases, and in the past year we've had over 100 cases, which is unusual because in the previous 5 years, if you average it out, we've only had about 60. So we've about doubled our numbers in the last year. Now, typhus is an environmental pathogen, meaning that you get it from exposure to the environment. So people who have a lot of outdoors exposure, as was said, like hiking, maybe living on the streets, and contact with wildlife, like wild cats, feral cats, rats, possums. These are animals that carry a lot of fleas that could be infected with typhus. This is how you would get typhus if one of those fleas bit a human.
So let me jump in. So
Sure.
if we did have an army of cats that came over here to attack the rats, that doesn't, we might eliminate the rats, but that doesn't mean we would eliminate the flea problem. Is that
Exactly, because you can imagine the fleas from the rats would immediately jump onto the cats. So the problem still occurs. So as you can imagine, the issue to solving this is to remove the vector, remove the animals that harbor the vector. So removing the fleas, removing the feral cats, rats, possums, and it sounds like you're doing a very comprehensive job at doing that.
Thank you. Could I get sanitation to come up for a moment? All of you, you don't need to leave. Just give them a chair or two. So, I'd like to see what kind of increased efforts you guys might have in place, increase cleaning, trash, hauling, or whatever. So if you could just let us know where you are, how do you fit in this, what appears to be a pretty good team being put together to address this concern?
Jose Garcia, with Assistant Director for LA Sanitation and the Environment. I can give you a little historical of where it started. The plans right now to address the Civic Center, we're working with our partner agencies to come up with a plan and do comprehensive cleaning and increase. We've already increased the receptacle collection and monitoring of the area for loose debris. But we're working it with a plan to do a comprehensive weekly cleaning within the Civic Center. But historically, this was originally brought up in October in the OHS, the Operation Healthy Street area of Skid Row. And so what we were doing in the OHS area was approximately 100 acres of property with about 9.45 sidewalk miles. When this was brought to our attention, the expanded zone increased to about 279 acres and approximately 24.9 miles, sidewalk miles. So we've been addressing this since October. So we've increased the number of receptacles that we've put out in the zone area, the affected area. Just to kind of give you a comparison, 3 months prior to where it was just OHS, and the 3 months since the expanded area, we've increased approximately 62% of actual comprehensive cleaning tonnage. and the receptacles have increased about 57% in the volume of tonnage in and around the zone area. So we're removing as much of the trash and debris around as we see it, spot cleaning and addressing receptacles and comprehensive cleaning throughout the zone area, which is Spring to Alameda, 7th to 3rd. So that's kind of an update of where we are right now. In collaboration with the CATS, the vendor, they've addressed 427 rodent burrows, meaning dusted them. 90 of those burrows have been sealed, and 343 tree wells have also been treated in and around the typhus zone. So this is what we've done when it first came out in October. And where we plan to do, or like I said, we're working in collaboration with GSD to develop a plan within the Civic Center.
Okay, I appreciate that. Mr. Royster or Mr. Pascal, maybe the next time we get together, it would be very informative if you brought in a representative from CATS or whoever our pest control team is to walk us through what they do. I mean, I want to understand what's our proactive, what are we going to do, proactively to make sure that we don't get this problem again. We're going to have to maintain things. I'd like to hear from them, since they're the experts in this field, how they go about doing these things. So when we get together again, I think that they should be here and be able to provide the answers to any questions that this council might have or that I might have. I think we are, as a council, are determined to handle this, and hopefully we'll never have to deal with this again. I am curious to the ideas as to how we got this. We got this problem. I mean, we do have issues. There's too many reports of rodents, and we just need to proactively do that. And I'd like to hear from them. Yes. I don't think it's because of Skid Row. Not entirely. I don't think it's because of the building being torn down, east of here. But I'd like to hear what they think, what caused this, so that we can be vigilant in the future. So, members, are there any other questions? I know my questions are complete. I want to thank you guys, and just be on the alert to know that until we are really comfortable that we have a handle on this. Oh, could anybody answer my question about, is there such thing as a 26-floor giant fumigation tent? See, that's what I want to ask the experts about. I mean, I've never heard of it. But anyway, thank you for coming. All right. So let's go to back to general public comment. Maria, do we have Maria? Maria N, Jeremy C. Come, if I call your name, come on down. Carlos R, Sharon Wilson. 1 minute. Identify yourself and go.
Hello, mi nombre es María Nájera y está en español.
Okay,
Good morning, my name is María Nájera.
Estimados miembros del cónsul,
City Council members,
gracias por tomar su tiempo para leerles esta carta.
thank you so much for taking the time so I can read this letter to you.
Como dije, mi nombre es María Nájera. Soy una persona que llegué a los Estados Unidos desde los 17 años de edad. Ciertamente,
Like I said before, my name is Mariana Jara. I came to the United States when I was 17 years old.
ciertamente trabajando desde entonces, emprendiendo un negocio por más de 18 años,
Certainly, I was working and I had my business for 18 years.
tratando de mantener este negocio con mucho esfuerzo.
I was trying to support this business with a lot of effort.
La economía se vino para abajo y siendo yo una mamá soltera con 2 hijas,
The economy went in decline, and being a single mother with 2 daughters
que todavía viven conmigo.
that still live with me.
Hace 13 años compré una casa
3 years ago, I bought a house
con tanto esfuerzo
with a lot of
y
effort
sacrificio.
and sacrifice.
Desde hace 5 años mi trabajo bajó mucho.
5
poco
years
a
ago,
poco.
my job went down.
La compañía para la cual yo trabajaba bajó.
The company that I worked for went in decline.
Y debido a la economía, me bajó de un 100% mi salario y comisiones al 30%.
And because of the economy, my salary went from 100% to 30% commission.
Siendo esto, este tiempo empecé yo a pedir préstamos personales y empeñando mis autos.
So what I did at that time was to ask for personal loan and to pawn my cars.
Siendo eso, los intereses muy altos, me enganché con ellos y perdí un carro.
So the interests were really high, so I lost one of my cars.
Me di cuenta que iba a perder muchas cosas más. Tuve que entrar a un programa de 12 pasos para recuperar mi vida.
I realized that I was going to lose a lot, so I have to undergo a program called 12 Steps so I can recover my life.
She's got to wrap this up.
Tiene que terminar, señora,
Oh,
porque
sí.
no hay tiempo.
Tratar de hacer las cosas mejor.
So I can try to do better things.
Y así fue como puse mi servicio de Airbnb en mi casa para no perderla.
That's the reason why I went into our R&B program, so I did not lose my house.
Que esto me ha ayudado a sobrevivir y seguir pagando mi casa con este negocio.
So that helped me to survive and continue paying my house with this business.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, next speaker, please identify yourself.
Hi, my name is Jeremy. Dear Council, first off, I would like to take the time and thank you all for listening for me to speak today. I was born in the San Fernando Valley and grew up in a middle-class family. My parents made ends meet the best way that they could, and as the only child, they wanted to see me in a successful professional field. Although they've always supported anything that I wanted to do, deep down inside me, I know that it would break their hearts if I wasn't anything less than a lawyer, doctor, or anything corporate. Growing up, I was athletic and played a lot of sports. Aside from that, I was creative and had a certain eye for details. At the end of my college semester, I decided to take a leap of faith and move out to downtown LA on my own with no job lined up. I figured that somehow I would make ends meet by paying rent with the money that I saved up by hustling throughout college. I would always resell sneakers, clothes, or anything that were in supply and demand. Shortly after I moved out, I had the opportunity to dive into the world of Airbnb. I got to do something that I love to do, and that was to be creative, furnish a home, and show my creative side to guests that were staying at my places. After doing this for 3 years now...
Thank you. Thank you. It's a minute.
Thank you.
Unless we're doing translation. Please come forward, sir. Identify yourself. We're looking for Sharon Wilson, Terry Grant.
Good morning, Councilman.
Yes.
My name is Carlos Rosas, and I'm just here in regards to Airbnb. So I'm currently an Airbnb host. Just want to say that the current ordinance are extremely restrictive, and I am a caregiver to my 2 elderly parents, and parents that are in need of much care. And hosting helps me cover much of their expenses, and have having a day cap restricts a lot of that. Also, the RSO would also affect their well-being, because obviously it would limit my hosting, because I will no longer be able to afford some of their care. I feel that as a home sharing host, we're all kind of ambassadors to them.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So do we have Sharon Wilson, Terry Grant, last F. Gilley, T. Marquez, Stan Chapman, Jill Stewart, Frankie Delatorre, Youssef, Juan Palmer. In fact, is anyone here that signed up to speak? Okay, come on up and tell me your name. Yes, you are.
Sir, my name is, I'm sorry about that.
Take your time. Your
Okay.
name is?
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Linda Hobbs.
Linda Hobbs.
I'm a graduate of UCLA. I'm 70 years old. I'm a retired school teacher. And I thank you all for the work that you're doing here and granting me this time. I thought I had 3 minutes, so now I have to cut this down.
No, you only have 1 minute for general public comment.
Yes, sir. And these are not about those comments. Okay. I was having problems in my condominium. Last May, I flew to Sacramento twice, and I met with Senator Robert Rakowski's staff, and I spoke before the Senate Judiciary Committee. They asked me to go back to my condo and speak to the other condo owners. That's when I found out that the board president attacked a male condo owner for questioning the $2.3 million budget. Other condo owners witnessed it. They filed a police report. The board member is still the president. He was never, that's it. Thank you
ma'am.
very much.
Next speaker, please identify yourself. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Marta Maldonado. Thank you very much for the opportunity of addressing you. My husband and I purchased our property in 1988, where we're still living in. Unfortunately, in 2008, I became disabled, and our household income went to 50% less than what we used to bring home. So therefore, I had 2 empty rooms because my kids have moved out of the house, and I decided to do home sharing through Airbnb. And now I hear that you guys are trying to limit me of doing that, and because my property is a 2-unit property, and but it's my primary residence, and I don't think it's fair for someone else to dictate what I do with my primary residence. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good morning. My name is Walter Bechtel. I wanted to come here and talk about a problem property. It's called the Drake Hotel at 1121 East 7th Street. They are doing a project there, but they haven't vetted it through government. There is no licensing. I've talked to the tax assessor. I've talked to housing. I've talked to the zoning administrator. And I've talked to everybody in government, and they seem to think they can just do a project outside of RSO and the Universal Relocation Act through HUD. They're just doing whatever they want. They've forced everybody out of the hotel. I would appreciate it if somebody would go over there and explain to them that it's not legal. They can't just do anything they feel like. And if they don't, then I would appreciate it if you would enforce the law, including receivership. That's the Drake Hotel. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker. Anyone else here to speak? Please come get in line now. Yes, your name?
Hi, Jorge Castaneda with the Coalition to Preserve LA. Thank you. It's easy to claim that any individual council member has the option to satisfy, to express true human nature, like when a child has 1 toy but wants 2, gets 2 toys and wants 4, and so on. This is human nature, isn't it? But when the entire city council behaves in the same way, it becomes a monopoly, oppressing people of color, working class, women, children, and so on. Is that human nature? Ever since the FBI raid on the office and home of Councilman Jose Huizar, federal agents have been focused on cozy relationships between politicians and real estate executives who write checks to their campaigns and charitable causes. The FBI warrant describes a sprawling web of likely corruption, of campaign donations traded for project approvals, and outright bribery. Mayor Garcetti has asked and expects everyone on this council to cooperate fully with the FBI. The people of Los
Thank
Angeles
you.
deserve better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please. Identify yourself.
Yeah, hi, my name is Lawrence Freed. That's quick.
Go
minute. My name is Lawrence Freed. Most of my past 20 years I lived in, operated my business firm, owned property on Sunset Boulevard in Council District 1. Today I can't specify where in LA I live. I'm not homeless in the conventional sense, but I am itinerant in Los Angeles, resulting from being ordered to comply without end from building safety, such that I lost, my almost paid off home, business, and rental property that's in Echo Park. Recently, I attended a neighborhood council meeting last week where the property that was my home, which has been maneuvered to a developer's hands, is almost entitled for 77 units as of last week, and they were coming before our neighborhood council for that. So I'm here to support the positions of the organization To Preserve LA that was, had an event in front of on the South Lawn today, but most importantly, to urge all of you here,
Thank you.
Esteemed council members, to begin giving
Thank
the thousands of citizens who have been displaced.
Thank
by
you.
digital
Your time
development
has expired.
the lowest-
Thank you, sir. Okay. Thank you. All right. His time's expired. Thank you. All right. What's before this council? That concludes general public comment. So what's before this body?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
They're posted. They're referred. Any announcements, members? Let's all rise for adjourning motions. I'm looking to my left side, Mr. Koretz's side. I don't see any on that side. Looking to my right, Mr. Smith, Mr. Krikorian's side. No adjourning motions there. Members, this council meeting is adjourned. Have a good weekend.